Hi there. If you're planning on moving to the UK, I'm guessing you've heard that all the prices have shot up. So because of inflation, the food prices have gone up and the fuel prices have gone up and council taxes have gone up and energy prices have gone up. So all in all, everything is really expensive in the UK right now. So now, why do you need to know this? Well, if you are planning on moving to the UK, it's extremely important that you calculate in advance basis how much salary you think you're going to be offered or you're already offered, and see how much you can save, how much you're going to spend in expenditure. And if you've watched videos in the past, you'll realize none of that information is valid anymore because a lot of prices have almost doubled. So what you need to do with this information is go back and calculate and see how much you think you're going to spend in the UK and to see if that move still makes sense for you. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you how much you can expect your monthly expenditure to be, how much some other things cost even though you're probably not going to buy them on a monthly basis, and let you work out your own cost of living as a result of this and see how much you're going to actually need to survive in the UK on a monthly basis. So let's start off with utilities. We live in Maidenhead and in a 3 BHK, and we wanted to stay outside London because London can get really expensive, and we really wanted more space in our house with a child and 2 dogs. So we pay 1,600 bucks for our house in Maidenhead, and that cost could vary. So if you're staying in a 3 BHK in London, it's going to be a lot more money. If you're staying in another town, which is relatively more inexpensive, it could be a lot less. So this can vary a lot, but you can take this like as a benchmark for a mid price. Now, because we stay in a bigger house, it's obviously more expensive to heat, and we've had a rather long winter this year. I mean, it's still cold right now. It's about 9 degrees outside right now today. So it's been more expensive to keep the house warmer. Just for the month of April, we paid £64 for electricity and £83 for gas. So that's a total of £147 on our power bill. In March, our power bill was £105. And as you can see, there's been a dramatic increase in the prices, and it's not just in our case, it's in everyone's cases. We have been trying to reduce the power bills by running the washing machines and the dryers during low consumption hours, by turning out all the extra lights in the house. But a lot of other households have mentioned that they have actually seen their monthly budget double because of electricity bills which have shot up. We moved to this house in September, and water is calculated twice a year. So our bill from October to January was about £125 by 4 months. So that is about £31. I had to look for the calculation. So something else which has actually shot up by quite a bit is the council tax bill. So when we moved here, we were first paying about £125 as council tax, and now we pay £185 as council tax. Now, Maidenhead has had an increase in council tax over the last few months. It's gone up by about 1.99%. But despite that, Maidenhead has probably the 4th lowest council tax rate in the whole of England except London. So you can imagine how much other counties or how much other boroughs are paying for council tax. It's going to be a lot more. Now, moving on to personal expenses. We work from home, both my husband and I work from home, and we do a lot of streaming on the television as well. We do a lot of uploading of videos, a lot of Zoom calls. So a good Wi-Fi connection is really of utmost importance for us. So we have a plan with Virgin, and we pay £27 a month. And it's absolutely brilliant. I haven't had any issues while uploading my videos, and our calls go off perfectly, and we stream everything on the television. We don't have a local connection here. So it's a perfectly good plan, and it supports all of our needs. Now, if you're moving with a family or you have some really close friends, it would make sense to get a SIM card along with them, because you usually get offers if you buy 2 SIM cards together. We pay $10 and $7 for our plan, and because we've taken it for a longer period of time, there was a slight discount on that as well, and this offer was with 3. And that's not really much if you think about phone bills in India. I think they were pretty similar in terms of the rates, especially if you had a postpaid connection. But before you move ahead, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, do it now. And click on the bell icon for notifications. Now, another pretty big bucket is in terms of transportation, and especially if you commute to London, if you stay in a commuter town like we do, and you need to move into London every day. If you live within London, it's a lot easier. You can walk to a lot of places. You take the tube, which is relatively inexpensive compared to everything else, or you can take a bus or whatever. There are lots of options. But if you live outside London, A, you need to have a car, and B, you need to take a train to go into London. You need to have a car because while London is really brilliant in terms of connection, everything is really well connected, everything outside London is not so well connected. So if you've seen any of my old videos, you'll know that we bought a car on a lease and we pay about $350 per month for the lease of the car. Well, apart from that, there's also car insurance, or well, your insurance if you're driving the car. So we pay £59 for insurance per month. So ours is a petrol car and there's also petrol cost, right? So our car is about 40 liters and we pay about $66 for 40 liters, which is a full tank, and it lasts us a little more than 3 weeks. And this primarily covers like school runs from here to school and back, and small runs within town itself. I'm not including any small road trips you do, even if it's to just the next borough. So as of now, the rate of petrol is 1.65 per litre and the rate of diesel is 1.8 per litre. And like I said, so if you stay in a commuter town, you need to go into London as well. So if you're taking the train to London, it approximately costs you about £25 to get into London. And the tube is about like £3, £4, £5 depending on how many changes you want to do and what line you're taking. If you think I've missed out something, let me know in the comment section below if you want to know how much something costs, and I will try my best to reply. So one of the mistakes we made when we first moved here was I don't think we were controlling our grocery expenditure as much, because if you look at it, each of these items are so low priced that you really don't think about it. It's only when the whole bill gets added up together you realize how much you've actually spent and bought. And when we first moved here, our weekly grocery bill was anywhere from £120 to £150, and that is a lot. And this also included food for our dogs. So we have 2 dogs and we used to get store-bought food for them. So this also included store-bought food for the dogs, which is about 40 cans. So on an average, probably 110 or 120 still, even if you took out the food cans. Now, since then, we've made a lot of changes and we've actually managed to bring our bill down to like about 80 or 90 pounds a month, which is a huge deal right now. And some of the changes we made was initially, if you've seen my earlier videos as well, you would have noticed that I used to buy a lot of frozen food that was already made and all you had to do was pop it into the oven. And that gets really expensive if you're doing it on a daily basis. So what I do now is I buy all of the raw materials and I cook from scratch, and that turns out to save us a lot of money. Now, if you plan on moving to the UK, or if you're already here and you're struggling with grocery bills, which are, well, skyrocketing right now, there are 2 things you can consider doing. The first thing is consider shopping at a cheaper alternative. Instead of going to a Waitrose or a Sainsbury's, try a Tesco or a Lidl, right? They're relatively more expensive, and even though each of the items has a very small price difference, when you're racking up that entire bill and when you're, well, billing the entire cart, you'll realize that there is a substantial price difference, right? The second thing you can consider doing is buying store brands for things that aren't very important. Tesco has a lot of its own products, Sainsbury's has a lot of its own products, and of course there are larger FMCGs that sell their products as well. Like there's cereal from Tesco and there's cereal from Nestle or Kellogg's, for instance. So for things that aren't really that important, like household goods or cleaning items, you can always go with the store option. You can buy Tesco's cleaning products, or you can buy Lidl's cleaning products or Sainsbury's cleaning products, because they're relatively cheaper versus a big or a large FMCG brand. And for things that you are more concerned about, like if you're concerned about taste, for instance, I know I would not buy Tesco cereal simply because I'm a little nervous about how it would taste. I like the way my cereal tastes and I don't want to change that. So you can probably stick to your regular brands for those products that are really important to you. And for everything else, buy a store alternative and it'll actually end up saving you quite a lot. Now, if you're coming from India, there's this huge culture of eating out in India or ordering in, because nothing is very expensive. And especially if you're from Bangalore like we were, I think all of us were just spoiled for choice, because Swiggy and Dunzo and Zomato would just deliver everything home and everything was so convenient. Most of the time, if you didn't feel like cooking, you could just order everything in. And there was so much variety. There was everything from something that was really expensive to something that was really inexpensive as well. That actually spoils you, because if you're staying outside London, you don't have too many of those options. Like we stay in Maidenhead, there aren't too many good food options, and they can get relatively expensive if you keep ordering often. So you still got all of your pasta and your pizza and all of that. Not too many options, but you've got restaurants that serve it. You've got a lot of Indian food as well, but I really don't know if it's even Indian food because it doesn't taste like Indian food. It's very sweet. But yeah, something's better than nothing. So for your reference, because almost everybody at some point or the other has ordered from Domino's in India, if you order a meal for 3 from Domino's in the UK, it's going to cost you about £44. I don't remember how much it cost in India, to be very honest, but I know it was not £44, it was a lot less. Now, if you order pizza from a Frankie's and Benny's, which is another fast food cum Italian chain over here, it's a lot cheaper. So you end up paying like 20 or 25 pounds for a meal for 3. So that is something, again, you should keep in mind. Look for alternatives. An Indian meal costs you about £35. And what we do, well, we try very hard to do, is not order in or eat out more than 2 or 3 times in the month, just so that we're managing costs well. And then there's something I like to call maintenance, which is basically maintaining how you look and like grooming yourself and all of that. And it can get really expensive in the UK, especially again if you're from India where everything is relatively cheaper. Jordan gets his hair cut at £13 because I haven't found anything else that's cheaper. Arijit's is about £17 for a haircut. And well, my haircut was at Tony & Guy because I couldn't find anybody else who would take a walk-in because I had no other time to get my haircut at that point. And that was about £40, 30 to £40 for a haircut with some conditioner put in and everything, which isn't really the cheapest option if you think about it. I probably should learn to start cutting my own hair at home, but I think I'm just a little nervous about that. A manicure costs about £15 if you want to get your nails done. It's about £40 if you're looking at my nails. And a pedicure is about, well, it starts at about £25. Now, if you want to get a facial done, which is something a lot of women in India obviously want to do, it's really expensive because most of the decent places start at about £60, £70, and then go upwards all to the north of £100. So it's really expensive. So you probably want to invest in some face sheets or learn some age-old homemade tips on how to make your skin glow right from your home. Because the bottom line is, looking good in the UK doesn't come cheap. Now, if you live in the UK, you're going to want to go on a holiday at some point or the other, because the brilliant part about the UK is there are so many beautiful places for you to visit. You can just get into your car and drive out for 2 hours and you'll reach a beautiful beach or a coast or a peak or whatever. So you're going to want to take those holidays if you can. Now, the biggest cost when it comes to a holiday is the accommodation cost. In our case, it was Airbnb and it was really expensive. I don't think I've ever found a place which is lower than £100, and even the £100 places were like not the fanciest places ever. And I'm not talking about hotels, just Airbnbs right now. So if you are looking at going for 4 or 5 days, that's like £500 straight away. And apart from that, you obviously have food, you have fuel, and you have, if there are some rides and all of that, you have entry tickets and ride prices and all of that as well. But I'm not covering that because very rare occasions in which you do all of that. So on an average, if you look at our monthly expenditure, and I'm not taking occasions where you have to buy furniture or any household items or anything, these are just recurring monthly expenditure month on month, which doesn't really change, is about £2,917. Okay, so I hope I've given you an idea of how much it costs. Now, do remember that if you're moving to the UK for the first time, this is not going to be how much you're going to end up spending, because you'll have a lot more expenditure in terms of setting up your house, buying furniture, buying household items, buying the small knickknacks that you need to function on a daily basis, and all of that has not been covered in this video. So all of that is an additional cost. Now, if you're looking to move to the UK and you're looking for jobs that offer visa sponsorship, I highly recommend you check out this video because it has a bunch of openings that are available right now.